Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm reading for Pisces energy today, and just a reminder, it's energy, it's not a specific individual reading because none of us are just one sign. We're actually 12 houses, the planets move around all those houses, so we're affected by all the energies of the zodiac at some point. You may also want to check out your full birth chart, check out your sun, your moon, your rising, Venus, Mars, Mercury placements. I always really rate, just to kind of say, if you're kind of new to the channel, hi. Yeah, we're not just a sun sign. That is just a very surface level kind of persona. So if I'm sun sign Libra, so it's like when you first meet me, you might think, oh yeah, she's really Libra-y, but it's just kind of like a first impression thing, where your moon sign is kind of what you're like behind closed doors. And I really love your Mars sign and your Venus sign, because your Mars sign is all about how you take action, what makes you angry, what you do when you get angry. Your Venus sign is all about how you love, what you're like in relationships. So it's really good to kind of like, if you're looking for a specific type of reading, go and check out that placement. Another one that I really like, well, Mercury rules like communication and friendships, but Lilith is a really interesting one as well, because Lilith is where we get a lot of our shame from, and it's kind of like our shadow. So definitely go and check out your full birth chart. There is a link in the description box below to a site that I use, but I'm not affiliated with, so I've got no kind of, you can go and you can Google and kind of look up your own birth chart service, but the one I use is Cafe Astrology. It's free. You can look up your birth chart, just get the placements. There's a lot of information there, but if you just find out, again, like Venus for love readings, Mars for kind of like action type readings, like if you want to get action on something, or you want to, something's making you angry, look at your Mars reading. Anyway, the penis energy, oh my goodness, it starts already. Pisces, why is it always your readings? The Pisces energy is coming through, actually is very feminine, and very kind of like very dreamy, which you're ruled by Neptune, which is this really gorgeous kind of like dreamy planet. But all your songs have this kind of ethereal quality to them. You've got a couple of Lana Del Rey songs. In fact, you got like back-to-back Lana Del Rey, and the very ethereal ones as well. So you got A and W, and you've got what was the other one? Let me just grab my notes. I've actually just saved screenshots on my phone. I've not actually made that many notes for you. Mariner's Apartment Complex, which is such a beautiful song, and it's so Pisces as well, because Pisces, you have quite a soft quality to you. You kind of, you know, sometimes Pisces can be read as kind of like a pushover quality, or, you know, like giving too much of themselves in relationships and things like this, especially like Venus Pisces, you know, really can sort of, you know, let themselves be walked over in relationships and things like this. You know, Mercury Pisces placements, Venus Pisces placements. So but the beautiful thing about this song is it says they mistook my kindness for weakness at a Mariner's Apartment Complex. Why am I tripping over my words so much? What's going on in your reading? This was happening. So this is my second time doing your reading. The first attempt at doing your reading got interrupted by a Pisces. I ended up going out for the day. So I was like, do you know what? I'll just start again. But I remember tripping over my words at the beginning of that reading as well. Yeah, it could be quite hard to maybe say something this month. You know, sometimes when you've got something important to say, and you've kind of been building up for it, but you kind of get a bit nervous, and you start kind of going blah, like fumbling your words. It could be something like that for you. But yeah, they mistook my kindness for weakness. Like, it's such a beautiful song, and I love it so much, and it's so good for Pisces because it talks to me about you know, this strength and resilience that Pisces has, especially in relationships where, again, you know, you will, like Libra Venus, right? It's like you will bend and you will bend and you will bend in relationships, because and it's not that you're a pushover, it's not that you're weak. It actually takes a lot of strength and resilience to stay, even in a bad situation, right? And I'm not encouraging anyone to do this, but, you know, it takes a strong person to stay in stressful situations. You know, it's a strength, not a weakness. And again, not saying that anyone should stay in any kind of like toxic situations or relationships, but you can take a lot of that burden, right? Especially emotional burdens of people around you. You know, you can act as a kind of like a safety blanket, like an emotional safety blanket for the people that you love. You know, you can take a lot of that emotional burden from them. And again, not to say that you should, but just to say that it's not a weakness. There's a like that seems to be the important thing. There's something coming through as well. How do I say it? So like I say, your song, but your other song by Lana Del Rey is A&W, and if you know what that is, it's American, right? It's a WH. Yeah, so that specific word, I don't know if somebody works in that kind of industry, because your other song, and this was the song that specifically came out when I sat down and said, give me a song for Pisces for this reading. It was Mary Magdalene by FKA Twigs, which Mary Magdalene, I think, you know, people do say that she was a SW, right? So a lot of abbreviations here. Maybe this is something you do. I think I was talking, I don't know if it was in your reading that I kind of like had to scrap, or if it was in Aquarius's reading, but this idea of like social groups and developing kind of like in language, you know, like we know what it means, right? If I say this, my friendship group knows what it means. It's like code words, or abbreviations. Again, it's like maybe, you know, if you start working somewhere, you know, you might work in a kind of a job where there's a lot of abbreviations, and you kind of have to learn what that means. You know, like AWOL, it's like, well, what does that mean? Most people know what that means. I was just doing it as an example. But again, about something to do with, it's something to do with like the resilience of the feminine, right? The strength of the feminine, especially dark feminine energy, especially women who are in unusual circumstances, perhaps. Well, probably not unusual. Excuse me. I think my cat wants to come in. Yeah, sorry guys. But also like the idea of kind of you know, that A&W song, she says something like, look at my hair, look at the length of it, look at the shape of my body. You know, nobody will believe me if I say I wasn't asking for it. You know, so it's kind of like again, like the demonization of the feminine, how mud sticks. You know, if people say something about a woman just because of the way she dresses, you know, that mud sticks, and you know, people will kind of like believe the worst of people, whether it's true or not, right? It's like people believe what they want to believe, and oh my god, the cat wants to go out again. Yeah, so the Marys of the Bible have been a bit of a running theme in this set of readings. They keep coming out. So Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, just Mary references. So I don't know if somebody's called Mary. But let me read you the lyrics of this FKA Twigs song. So Mary Magdalene by FKA Twigs. A woman's work, a woman's prerogative, a woman's time to embrace. She must put herself first, Pisces. A woman's touch, a sacred geometry. I know where you start, where you end, how to please, how to curse. It's very high priestessy, again with that kind of ethereal energy of the songs, like the sounds of the songs. Feels like this kind of like spiritual woman energy, which I guess would be the Marys, right? Again, I don't know what your personal belief system is. I'm just telling you what I'm guessing, like how it applies to you, I don't know. Yes, I heard you needed me, and yes, I'm here to open you, and yes, I know that your heart is blue. So cold, I'm fever for the fire, true as Mary Magdalene, creature of desire, come just a little bit closer to me, step just a little bit closer to me. I can lift you higher, I do it like Mary Magdalene, I'm what you desire. So another song that came through was that, she goes down just like a bloody Mary, Mary on a cross. So again, this Mary energy just keeps on coming through. Come just a little bit closer until we collide. A woman's hand so dark and prerogative, a nurturing breath that could stroke you divine confidence. A woman's war, unoccupied history, true nature won't search to destroy. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, so have a look at those lyrics, maybe have a listen to some of those songs. Let me just pull up A&W. I'm not going to say all of them, but she says, I haven't done a cartwheel since I was 9, right? But why? Why don't adult women do cartwheels? Because, you know, I mean, some do, right? But that like losing that childhood female innocence. And again, it doesn't have to be female as well, you know. And I'm not saying that, you know, women are the only ones who experience, you know, discrimination or SA or anything like that, but it seems to be coming through in your reading as distinctly feminine. And it can talk about the feminine within us, right? So feminine archetypes within our own mind that might need healing, mother archetypes, sister archetypes, female partner archetypes, all these things. You know, if we have bad experiences, those archetypes can become damaged and corrupted, and then we can expect bad things of other people. You know, it's like, you know, if every time I went out the house and met someone with green eyes, they were mean to me, I would think that everybody with green eyes was a bad person and they were going to be mean to me. And that's not true. It's just that my idea of a person is sculpted through my experiences. So this is what I'm talking about the inner feminine archetype. So it doesn't really matter about your outer gender. It's talking about like any predispositions or ideas that you have about women in general. And again, this can be fed to us through things like religion. Perhaps you were raised with like the Bible and some of the stories that are kind of like, shame, shame, you know your name if you're born with a certain genitalia, you know. It's like you're to blame for everything, like, you know what I mean. It's kind of like some of the things that we're raised with, like movies, you know, movie culture, the stories we're told. You know, you can look at different cultures and they might have a different belief system, you know, they may treat and think of women differently. So just be aware about like what you've been exposed to throughout your life through literal physical relationships with the people around you, like literal lived experience, you know, drip feeding a narrative through the media that you consume. If all you watch is porn, you know, you're going to have a certain idea of what relationships look like, which may not be, you know, the lived experience, but it corrupts the mind, it corrupts the archetypes within us. And again, that's not to say that porn is always bad, but, you know, overconsumption without self-reflection is not a good thing of any type of media. So yeah, she says, I haven't done a cartwheel since I was 9. I haven't seen my mother in a long, long time. I mean, look at me. Look at the length of my hair and my face and the shape of my body. Do you really think I give a damn what I do after years of just hearing them talking? Call him up, come into my bedroom, ended up we F on the hotel floor. It's not about having someone to love me anymore. This is the experience of being an American. Called up one drunk, called up another, forensic files wasn't on, watching Teenage Diary of a Girl, wondering what went wrong. I'm a princess, I'm divisive, ask me why I'm like this. Maybe I'm just kind of like this. I don't know, maybe I'm just like this. Yeah. And then she says, I mean, look at my hair, look at the length of it and the shape of my body. If I told you that I was R, do you really think that anyone would think that I didn't ask for it? I won't testify. I already effed up my story. On top of this, so many other things that you can't believe. Did you know a singer can still be looking like a side piece at 33? Got a cop who turned on the backbeat, puts the shower on while he calls me, slips out the back door to talk to me. I'm invisible. Look at how you hold me. I'm a ghost now. So yeah, it's you're starting with a very troublesome energy. I also had this feeling listening to Marina's apartment complex because the Tower card came out while I was listening to this song, of like this energy, this kind of like feminine Mary energy, whatever this is, kind of like holding out her hand to somebody who's kind of like gone overboard. So it could be somebody who's in emotional distress, and like I want to say Pisces again, flip and reverse it if needs be, but it's like you coming in, like holding out your hand to somebody who's in distress, like come to me, I will get in my lifeboat kind of thing, which is a metaphor, but you know, come to me, I can help you weather the storm because the tower's here. You've also got portal and gate, which means kind of the same thing, right? The gate covers the portal. So there could be a transition opening up for you, you know, where perhaps your pathway was blocked in some sort of way before. Perhaps this is going to kind of open up and it's going to give you the opportunity to step forward into a new phase, a new beginning, a new lifestyle, a new mindset. There's many different kind of portals, right, that open up that we can change, that we can experience change through. So I'm just going to put these away just to kind of show you how I did that. I saw Panther as well there, which is very, very strong kind of high priestess style energy. Kind of pop that away in there as well and just show you me kind of like shuffling it. I don't set anything up. I'm not talented enough to be able to do card tricks. Everything that comes through in my readings is 100% genuine. You know, whether it's my subconscious talking or ghosts, I don't know. Like, I don't know where the messages come from. But yeah, they do tend to be quite... I get a lot of feedback that a lot of stuff is on point. So definitely there's something coming from somewhere. Pisces. All right, I'm just going to actually just tune in. Pisces. That one wanted to come out. We'll see what it is. The arrow and the signal. Oh, it's like the arrow is the signal. It's kind of feeling like Robin Hood, right? It's like fire the arrow when it's fire the arrow and the arrow's the signal. I don't know what that means. And then you've got Mars. I was hoping it was going to be Venus. The Maiden and Mars. Mars and the Maiden. The Maiden and Mars. So again, Mars energy. Maybe somebody's got Mars Pisces placements. Again, like I was saying, there's always a reason why I'm talking about things in the reading. At the beginning of the reading, I really had this urge to talk about Mars placements. So again, I do really strongly encourage you to go and check out what yours is, because somebody who's got a Mars Aries placement is going to be different to somebody who's got a Mars Pisces placement. I'm seeing a lot of just outside of my window. Suddenly I saw quite a few dandelion clock, you know, like the big dandelion clock kind of cotton ball things that float around at this time of the year. And this talks about to me about wishes, so there could be something about wishes. And of course Mars is about taking action on your wishes. You know, Mars is what motivates you, and when you're motivated you normally have a goal. So this could be talking about the wish that you're aiming towards. Again, like the arrow, right? What are you aiming towards? Like straight as an arrow. So okay, so we're understanding what they're trying to say a little bit better now. So what's motivating you? What's making you angry? How can you turn your anger into motivation, right? Rather than just walking around punching walls and screaming, ah! You know, which is kind of like destructive and impractical, and you know, just your id coming out. How can we rechannel that energy and use all that? Because it is energy, right? It is, when you're angry, there's a lot of pent up energy there. How can we kind of shift that into something that's productive and useful? I've got Mars Sagittarius placement. I either need to go out for a walk when I'm angry, or I clean. Because it's like this energy has to go somewhere. I'm going to clean out that cupboard that's been like, you know, sat there waiting for me for like months. So like now I'm going to do it because I have to do something. Mars in Sagittarius makes me have to do with that energy. You know, Mars in Pisces might disassociate or have like an emotional meltdown. Aries is very fiery. It's like, you know, it's kind of like a little blow up and then nothing, right? It's kind of like the air's cleared. So there's all these different ways of people handling their anger. It's balanced out with your other placements. It's kind of like a package deal. But Mars is kind of like the key to those kind of things. But again, anger and drive is also motivation. So how can you use anger to motivate you? And then the Maiden, I don't know why the Maiden's here. Perhaps you're the Maiden, perhaps you're dealing with a Maiden. It tends to talk about younger female energy. So perhaps if you've got a child or a younger sister, it talks about generally the idea of inexperience, right? Innocence, naivety. Mars and the Maiden, you would imagine that Mars, I mean, there's lots of stories about the god Mars and the god Aries, right? Yeah, Aries. Maybe you're dealing with an Aries. But the god Aries and the god Mars, who are kind of like counterpart gods, you know, they take advantage of a lot of maidens. There's a lot of stories of that. So again, just with the topic of discussion, with the songs, I would just be very, very careful at this time. It's almost like Mars and the Maiden, right? This is a god. This is, you know, it's very like, again, read the Greek myths. Like if you know, hit by Cupid's arrow, perhaps, you know, if a god takes a shine to you and you're a sweet little innocent nymph or a maiden with no real power, you're very, very vulnerable. What are you going to do in that situation? The gods take advantage of that situation. They take advantage of the position, and it's scary. If you read the story of Daphne and Apollo, you know, Daphne has to run away and beg to be turned into a tree to escape Apollo's kind of rabid advances. So there's a power imbalance there. But with the songs, it's almost like blaming the maiden. It's like, well, you shouldn't have attracted the attention of a god, you silly girl. You should have stayed in the trees. You shouldn't have let him see you. It's all your fault for being so young and attractive. It's like, I just went in to pick flowers. Like Persephone, right? She's like, I just went to pick flowers down by the riverbank, and then like the earth opened up, the chariot came out, the god of the underworld came and seized me and carried me away. What did you expect me to do? So yeah, there could be something about victim blaming, or I don't know. Maybe this is something that somebody's, I'm making jokes, I'm kind of laughing, but it's a very, very serious topic, and I want to kind of acknowledge that, right? It's just my persona, right? It's just the way that it's just a surface level thing, is my jokey nature. You know, especially when dealing with really dark topics, I make fun of things that scare me. I make fun of powerful things, right? Because it takes some of the power away from it if I can laugh at it. So just to kind of understand why I'm laughing and joking about something so serious, because it's not funny. It's not fucking funny, actually. It makes me quite angry. But yeah, just kind of, you know, the reading needs to be bearable, right? Well, I ain't no candle in the wind. I'm the storm, the lightning, the thunder, the kind of girl that's going to make you wonder who you are and who you're with. And who I am is, would you say, your goddess? So there's this thing about thunder in Scorpio's reading. They were chasing thunder. And then Capricorn, it was through the songs, Scorpio had chasing thunder. And then Capricorn had you're like thunder when you roll through. So it's like Scorpio is chasing Capricorn. And now Pisces, you're like, I'm the storm, the lightning and thunder. Like, don't give credit to Capricorn. This was all me. I'm the thunder here. Sorry, the cat is scratching at the door again. Oh my God, guys. Oh, he's made the mistake now because my eldest has come to get hold of him. She's got a grip of him now. She's like, come to me. I'll give you all the attention. Could be a situation like that. Like somebody's bothering one person and then someone else turns up who's, I don't know. It's like, oh, you thought you were the powerful one? Hold my catnip. Okay, what's going on for Pisces? You and them. The castle. Kind of like Rapunzel. Let down your golden hair. But the destroyer in the reverse. I mean, the maiden's in the castle, right? But she's not the princess. Because I think I have got a princess card. The destroyer and the shapeshifter. But the destroyer was in the reverse. So there's been this stuff coming through the readings. I feel like it was Virgo's reading. Could have been Leo's reading. The box card, right? It was like all these walls, all these barriers. And I think they had the destroyer. It was like destroying the barriers or something like that. I can't quite remember now. But I'm getting a similar vibe. Hang on, let me... I'm kind of doubting myself. I do have a princess card, don't I? Let's see who the princess is with. Let's see. The princess is with the Fool, Aries, and the Caretaker, Virgo. It's like the princess is off being King Lear, right? With the Fool and Kent. But the maiden's in the castle. It's almost like, you know that Mickey Mouse film where it's like the pauper and the prince? The maiden and the princess. And like the pauper takes the prince's position and he's in the castle. But the destroyer would be Mars, right? Mars is Mars the destroyer. Like this was a title given to Mars. If you look at the Augustan period, the Emperor Augustus, he didn't call himself an emperor, right? But the not in the sense that we would use it, at least. He was kind of like the guy in charge. He was like the first man, kind of like the first lady. He was like the first man, but like he was the boss, you know, and he did associate himself through his kind of propaganda, both with Venus and Mars, but it was a specific version of Mars. It was Mars the Destroyer, Mars in combat mode, or Mars the Avenger, because he was kind of like avenging the the wrongs that he saw done to Caesar. So it's making me think of that. I don't know why. The maiden, the castle. Let's read the castle card. Let's see what it says about the castle card. I mean, the destroyer in the upright in this deck would talk about positive energy, right? It would talk about healthy destruction, healthy tower moments, which is kind of like getting rid of stuff that's no longer fit for purpose. It's like cleaning your house, right? It's like throwing stuff away, demolishing a wall to make more space, that kind of vibe. But in the reverse, that is inappropriate use of power, right? That is destruction for the sake of destroying things. You know how I was talking about like getting angry and punching a wall? It's just destructive. It's not constructive in any sort of way. It's negative. The castle. Right, let me just find that card then. The castle. So Roman numerals, so my brain's having a brain fart moment with that. Right, I found it. The palace, the penthouse, the fortress. It's no wonder fairy tales of sleeping princesses. It's no wonder fairy tales tell of sleeping princesses within the castle walls. Why can't I speak? Which again, you've got the maiden in the castle. Like most archetypes, the castle is loaded with duality. It represents abundant riches, seductive fantasy, ornate wonders, and lavish adornments. And yet the walls are thick, cold and shadowy. This card points to a tendency to hold on to possessions, quite possibly a literal home, or position that projects the image of achievement. We're getting Capricorn now. Capricorn rules both money and reputation. While the soul longs to run barefoot in the forest, leaving it all behind. At times we must settle down, and yet the castle lulls us to sleep with the spell of materialism, and we fall asleep to our deepest dreams. The castle can be a motivating force, we were talking about motivation, or an enchanting goal to travel towards, but it's best not to linger with it in its walls of decadent deception for far too long. So I did have a message this morning that was kind of like let it go, let it flow. So don't cling to money. Like the abundant universe will provide, like an attitude of gratitude, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like, know that the universe is going to look after you. So don't worry about spending money because the universe is going to replace it. That's the energetic flow. Like obviously you don't want to be stupid with money. You want to be thankful for the gifts that Pluto gives us, right? The rich one. But you also don't want to cling and have an attitude of like saving for a rainy day, because then that's the energy that you're putting out to the universe, right? It's kind of like, I need to hold on to the money because next week I might not have any money. So I was thinking about this morning before I went out, and I kind of overspent a little bit yesterday, but I was kind of a little bit like, like I'm going to enjoy it while I've got it. I want to have a nice day. I want to have a nice experience. I'm not going to worry about kind of like, oh, I don't want to spend money and all this kind of stuff. And I was kind of just thinking about this morning. And then, like I say, a Pisces appeared to kind of like take me out for lunch. So again, it's like I didn't have to pay for lunch. The Pisces did, which I'm very, very, very grateful for. Absolute legend, right? And also I came home and I'd won a small amount of money, like a very small amount of money, but it was enough to cover the money that I spent yesterday. So it's like the universe replaced the money that I spent yesterday. So it's like literally I was thinking about this morning and it happened, right? It was like kind of like the universe is going to give you what you need. So that's kind of the message of the castle there. Just if you want to look it up, obviously, again, I would encourage everybody to just kind of be careful. You don't want to, it is important to kind of like, plan for the future, have savings. Like the money I got was incidentally because of money I'd saved. So it's kind of like, it was kind of like that paid off, kind of like Saturn energy, I guess you'd say. Saturn energy is like being responsible and being hardworking and doing sensible things pays off. And that's kind of like the situation I had this morning. But it was only a very small amount. But yeah, so it's like, I want to say that's a message for you. I want to say they gave me a small example of it because it's a message for you. It's like if you hold on to the castle too tightly. I had this idea of like someone moving home. it was like Property Ladder. You had Break the Chain. That's the song that made me think of it. Break the Chain by Fleetwood Mac. And I was thinking, what does that mean, break the chain? Obviously, the song itself has a meaning. But for you, it's coming through like, when you get a chain of houses. So it could be you're in some kind of situation where you're trying to sell your house, but the person buying it is also trying to sell their house. You're trying to buy a house, but the person who you're trying to buy from is also trying to buy another house. So that's the chain. So it's almost like you don't have to wait for someone to buy your house. You don't have to wait for a house to become available. Just sell your house, free up the funds, right? And then it's like you'll figure it out. I mean, that's me. I can't give you financial advice, right? I'm just a tarot reader and it's not a personal reading, but it's something to think about. Like, is this something you could do? Is this something that would work for you? Maybe sell your house and rent for a bit. Can you afford to rent without it eating up the profit you made from selling your house? Could you buy, like, would it be viable for you to rent for 6 months while you look for another property? That kind of thing. Would it be viable for you to do up, rent while you do up your house so that you can sell it? Just look at things from a different perspective. There might be another way of handling that you're not really thinking about. um it's like this freeing up. It's like sell it to free up the funds is kind of the way it's coming through. Okay, again, I can't give you, don't sell your bloody house just because I told you to in a tarot reading, right? I can't give you financial advice. I'm not that person, right? But if anything, if this is kind of ringing true for you and you're thinking, hang on, maybe this is something I want to do, go and speak to an actual financial advisor before you do any major life decisions. That I'm not that guy, right? Don't blame me. Don't blame me. I am just the mirror. I'm just a discussion group. It's like if you watched a movie and used it as final. It's like watching, I don't know, The Wolf of Wall Street and taking it as literal financial advice. That's not what the movie's there for, right? Go and speak to a financial advisor. It's the same thing. It might give you an idea. Go and research the idea. Okay, and it's going to be different for everybody. It's a general reading, not a personal reading. Just like, disclaimer, like, don't. I am not responsible enough to tell you what to do with your finances. Let's put it that way. Okay. I can barely look after myself. This is why Virgos exist, because I can't look after myself, guys. I can actually. I'm very good at it. Sorry, I'm just manifesting. I'm so good at looking after myself. Me and the universe. Teamwork. Yeah. Again, just be careful about what you're saying. Be careful what you're manifesting. Pisces is energy. Anything to talk about in the reading is part of the reading, by the way. Again, reflections. Okay, yeah. Reflecting is really important. Dreams and visions, exactly, 100%. So one of my notes for you, which I've not talked about yet, was you may be extra dreamy at this time. I've noticed it about my Pisces family members. Like I say, the person who came to take us out for lunch, they were a little bit dreamy today. They were a little bit tired. They've got a little bit of pain, and sometimes pain kind of makes you go in your own head a little bit. So I did notice that about them. It was only a touch, right? It wasn't like, I wasn't overly worried, but I did notice they were a little bit off. And my kid as well. So one thing I wanted to talk about in your reading was one of my children is a Pisces, and when they get a little bit poorly, right, when they get a little bit of a temperature, they kind of sleepwalk, and they have kind of like the waking dreams. So it's this kind of, it's like they're under a spell. It's like they're under an illusion, and they seem like they're awake, but they're not awake, and they're talking absolute nonsense. And what they're seeing is not what reality. So this idea of like the veil being thin, of you being particularly dreamy or in your headspace or daydreaming a lot at this time could be very useful to you. It's like, pay attention, because there's information in your dreams, even if it's just your subconscious, right, that you need to reflect on. So this came up in conversation. So I was already thinking about this morning, and when I went out, it came up in conversation with this Pisces, and we were talking about because I mentioned that my kid was sleepwalking, and they said, this is something that used to happen in the Wild West, or like during the gold mining days. And they said one night this guy like woke up. He'd gone to bed, he was like in his tent or whatever, and he woke up and he started walking towards the mines. And so some of the other guys who were kind of still awake, like around the campfire or whatever, were like, hey, where's that guy going? And so they followed him, and they kind of realized he was sleepwalking, but they followed him to kind of like see what he was doing and keep him safe, kind of like figuring out what was going on. And he walked over to a specific wall, and he kind of like stopped at the wall and kind of stared at it for a bit. So that he kind of woke up and went a bit wobbly. They took him back to bed. But the next day they went and looked at this wall, and there was gold shining through. And it became a bit of a phenomenon, according to the Pisces that I was with. So it became a bit of a phenomenon where, you know, it actually became like a good luck thing if you had someone who sleepwalked, kind of in the company that were doing the mining, because they would literally walk to gold veins, like, and point out gold veins that the miners had missed. And it's because they did some research on it. Again, apparently, this is hearsay, I can't verify this myself, but it's a good story. Apparently what was happening, they kind of figured out, you know, it wasn't this supernatural call of the gold. It was somebody kind of like who knows how brains work, kind of like did the brain research on it. And it was something to do with subconsciously glimmers of light kept our attention, and our brain remembers it. So what was happening is you had these miners who were kind of like down these mine shafts with, you know, a very small amount of light, and out of the corner of their eye, you know, they would see a gold vein flicker, but it wasn't enough to kind of like capture the full conscious attention, but they noticed it subconsciously. So the sleepwalkers would walk to where they'd seen the glimmer of light in their dream. So I thought that was really interesting, and it had to be a story for you guys. So that was my Pisces baby bringing me some Mr. Beast chocolate, because he's such a good boy and he was sharing with me. My heart. So yeah, reflections, dreams and visions. So I want to say there's something going on with your subconscious where you've seen some kind of light or a signal, right? You've got a signal, and pay attention to it, because you may be missing something consciously in your waking life, and your subconscious is picking up on it at this time. So reflect on it. Archangel Jeremiel may mean something to you. And you've also got Ishtar, who's absolutely gorgeous. This came out for Capricorn. I feel like it came out for another sign as well, but I can't remember which one now. But it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at this: feminine power, sexuality, and heaven on earth. Now Ishtar is like one of the oldest gods. She was like a Babylonian goddess. So she's actually older than the male gods that we know about. So this kind of original badass woman, and she's kind of like she's good at everything kind of thing. Like, she was not only the goddess of kind of like, I don't know, love and agriculture and the sun, she was also like the goddess of warfare and strategy. So she's kind of like Athena, Venus, a few other goddesses kind of like rolled into one. So she absolutely carried that Mars energy, and it's kind of like, she feels like Venus and Mars all rolled into one. Incidentally, I did Aquarius's reading, I think it was this morning or yesterday. I'm all like mixed up now. This happens in the school holidays. I lose track of time. But I did their reading, and I remember them having all this kind of like Mars, Venus, and the sun energy. No, it was the sun, the moon, and something else. And then I kind of like did the reading and finished it, and I was like, what was going on with that? And it's because the sun and Mars and the moon, I think, are all in the same sign right now. I think they're all in Leo. And I was like, that's why it was all Leo energy. That's why I had the sun and the moon. And that's why I had. So yeah, I was like, oh, that explains what was going on in Aquarius's reading, because I didn't really fully understand it at the time. So yeah, I don't know. It's got that feeling of kind of like the sun, Mars and Venus all rolled into one. So maybe check out those placements again. Feminine power, heaven on earth, and sexuality. I was picking up on Capricorn energy, so maybe you've got Capricorn placements. I mean, you're showing up as the absolute bomb, Pisces. Like, you're showing up as, I don't know, dreams, visions. I mean, it's exactly that energy, right? I was saying like that you had all those Lana Del Rey songs, and then FKA Twigs, who's incidentally Capricorn. Lana Del Rey she's like Cancer, Leo cusp, but this kind of like really dreamy, gorgeous, sexy, earthy, watery, magical, high priestessy energy. I kind of feel like mirrors, dreams, visions, feminine power. It's kind of gorgeous. Definitely was picking up on that energy through the music. Who is Pisces connecting with, please? Who's Pisces connecting? Oh my god. Like, I don't know, it's like power couple energy. Sophia? This could absolutely be something, Lady Nada there as well. Again, divine service, light work, higher heart. Aries had Sophia. I remember Aries had Sophia in their placement. So again, you could be dealing with an Aries because you've got Mars. This is really gorgeous. This is, I do get the impression, as I say this, like the sunlight is getting like brighter. It's like the sun's coming out from behind a cloud. This feels like healing the inner feminine archetype. It really, really does. So I talk sometimes, I need to shout out one of my Pisces friends who kind of introduced me to Carl Jung, and then I talk about them all the time in my readings. Like, they were spot on. They guided me in the right direction, right? They were the arrow I needed. But Carl Jung and some of his philosophies. So he talks about the shadow. But he also then people talk about shadow work a lot when you come to tarot readings. But he also talks about the persona and then the anima or animus. So again, it's kind of like his philosophy was, if your persona is feminine. So for me, coming to this reading, I'm a woman, right? I identify as female. But that would mean my animus would be male, right? And your animus is kind of the things that you've rejected, the parts of yourself. If you imagine yourself as whole, like yin yang energy, it's the parts of yourself that you say you're not. So I'm not a man, right? So my animus is a man. It's kind of like your shadow. And vice versa, if you represent as male, then your anima is a female. So Carl Jung had his 4 female anima. And it's a progressive thing. So it starts off like, let me actually pull it up. Like, let me get you the factual information from Google, who deals with only facts. That's kind of a joke, guys. It's like I don't know. Right, it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Carl Jung, anima, 4 stages. There we go. We should be able to find it with that. Jung distinguished 4 broad stages to the anima, analogous to the levels of the Eros cult described in the late classical period. He personified them as Eve, Helen, Mary, and Sophia. Guys, Mary and Sophia. Okay, what are the 4 levels? So there's more information about them somewhere. Let me just see if I can pull it up. The first stage, Eve. So this is from frithluton.com. In the first stage, Eve, the anima, is indistinguishable from the personal mother. The man cannot function well without a close tie to a woman. In the second stage, personified, again, this is Jung, like, don't come at me, bra. In the second stage, personified in the historical figure of Helen of Troy, the anima is a collective and ideal sexual image. All is dross that is not Helen. So the first stage, like when you're a kid, right, it's kind of almost kind of Freudian. It's like, you know, the woman to you is mother, right? She's like my source of comfort and nutrition and whatever that is. And obviously that can be damaged if you had a fucking terrible mother and really bad female role models in your life, like bad female caregivers. Like the Eve is going to get effed up, like the idea of her in your mind, not a literal woman, right? But and then like the second stage, so it's the ideal, right? It's the collective and ideal sexual image. So like, again, we're talking heterosexual relationships here, but like the object of desire, right? Like what you desire, what you like, if you imagine your perfect woman, what is she like, you know? But it's a collective. It's not something that you find in individual women. It's kind of like the idealized woman, right? Probably impossible, the impossible feminine. The third stage, Mary, manifests in religious feelings and a capacity for lasting relationships. So this is kind of like a more mature desire to have like partners in your life, so female companions, right? Not necessarily sexual. It's kind of like you know, a life partner, perhaps a wife. Like it can be sexual, but it's more than that, right? It's kind of like a combination, I guess, of Eve and Helen in some circumstances. And then it says, in the fourth stage, as Sophia, called wisdom in the Bible, a man's anima functions as a guide to the inner life, meditating to consciousness, the contents of the unconsciousness. Big brain energy, guys. She cooperates in the search for meaning and is the creative muse in an artist's life. Yeah, so it says, so long as the anima is unconscious, everything she stands for is projected, most commonly because of the initially close tie between the anima and the protective mother, imago. this projection falls on the partner with predictable results. So yeah, and then it talks again about projection, but you're not projecting, you're reflecting, right? You're reflecting. So understanding that, I mean, flip it and reverse it. You know, you could be a woman reflecting on your male anima, or you could be a woman reflecting on your female anima, right? So I think we're beyond kind of the male female kind of duality here. We can recognize that some women are attracted to women. You know, it goes a little bit deeper. But we do carry these inner archetypes, and it's come up a few times in this set of readings, the idea of kind of like, rather than projecting our ideals of what a woman should be or what a man should be onto other people, just kind of accepting other people as, you know, exactly what they are, and being like, do you know what, I can see that they could improve, but I accept them for who they are. I have unconditional love for them. They're on their own journey, they're on their own path. You know, maybe I can lead them to the light, maybe I can give them more information to challenge their perceptions, but I'm not going to tell them what to believe in or who to believe in or what a woman should be, because that's a journey that they need to discover on their own. This feels more like, you know, letting go of preconceived notions of what a woman should be. Again, you had Mary Magdalene by FKA Twigs, guys. We're not messing around here. So, and growing beyond that, right? So Sophia is kind of like the idealized woman. She's kind of like the ultimate woman archetype of what a woman can be in the mind, right? She has wisdom, she has divine light, but she's full, right? She's fully integrated as shadow and all that good stuff. So really fucking amazing, to be honest. So because, again, the Sophia and Ishtar energy could be energy within you, right? This is an energy that you've been searching for within, and it could be that it's manifesting outside of you in another person, right? Somebody on your level, right? Somebody who, you're my best friend, you're my real bad bitch, I've got my own car, I don't need no, you know, it could be that kind of like, the goddess in me bows to the goddess within you. It could be that kind of situation. I fucking love it. What's the Mars energy about? Maybe the Mars energy is you not seeing Mars energy as masculine anymore, but, you know, understanding that women can wield Mars energy too, like Ishtar did, right? A woman can be a light for, what is it, peace and war, just like a man can. That's a Roman quote. So, God, that was, ew, I didn't like myself then. That was really kind of snobby of me. That's a Roman quote. It's like really pretentious. It was pretentious. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to be pretentious. I was giving you information. It just came out in a pretentious way. Because I know not everybody is like hardcore classics like I am. Like, and again, the corruption of classics as well. Like, people are making it into something it's not, right? And using it for their own agenda, which is kind of gross, right? Archangel Jeremiel and Ishtar, and using it to justify bullshit. And I'm like, you know, classics wasn't just like one rule fits all. It was, you know, multiple countries with multiple different belief systems, and it spanned a time period where those belief systems changed within specific it was complicated, guys. Not everybody believes the same thing, right? There was discussions in ancient Rome about, I don't know, whether slavery was a good idea or a bad idea, and how we should, you know, like, there were these discussions. Like, it wasn't like everybody had the same idea, right? So, and then you get people who are like, well, the Romans believed this, so I think we should do this. And I'm like, one Roman said it and sold a few books. Doesn't mean everybody believed it. Anyway, Archangel Jeremiel and Ishtar reflections. Who is Pisces? Tell me more about Pisces. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Aquarius, Libra. I just knew that it was going to come out with masculine energy, and I knew this was something about the persona. So sorry to my girlies, sorry to my Pisces girlies out there. I feel like I'm dealing with a masculine on this side, somebody who presents as masculine, like their persona's masculine. And I'm glad the Hangman's the right way up. And that seems crazy to say that the Hangman's the right way up, because he's literally upside down, but that's what the way the Hangman's meant to be. So I was talking about in Aquarius's reading that in another reading, I think it was Libra's reading actually, the Hangman had come out in the upright, like in the reverse, right? The Hangman was in the reverse, and the Hangman's not meant to be in the reverse. And it scared me because the point of Aquarius energy, the point of the Hangman is to have an out of the box perspective and against the grain perspective. He's the one saying, yeah, but, you know, like, yeah, but what if? Right? He's the one that gets people to expand their minds, right? Expand their consciousness, expand their soul, because you're not just accepting things at face value. You're going, yeah, but what, you know, you're asking the questions, you know, you're seeing things from a different angle. So the Hangman in the this way is really, really important. So when he comes out like that, it scares me, because I'm like, it's talking about a fixed perspective. It's talking about the inability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, which is a scary thing, right? But he's the right way around again now. So I don't know, maybe Aquarius got a bit of a kick in their reading or something. I don't know. It might not have been Aquarius's fault. King of Coins. So somebody who's really good with money. It's funny that that money thing's coming back up again, right? He makes wise investments. He can advise on, you know, it's like the guy who runs the bank, right? He's going to give you good financial advice or not, depends on what he wants from the situation. So different perspective on King of Coins energy. What again, you've got like castle cards, so it's like the King of Coins has built his castle, right? And it doesn't have to mean that you literally own a castle, but it's kind of like your house, right? Your finances, your bank accounts, your house, your resources, your skills as well. Skills are a pentacle, skills are a coin. So because they make coins, right? They're a practical applied thing. So his skill set, his expertise, all these things that are associated with that king of coins. He's built up his kingdom, he's built up his castle. Having a change of perspective on it. And then this energy of justice coming in. And it feels like seeing something as not being equal, because the scales are not equal on this card. The justice card can talk about law, contracts, administration. So it could be rethinking some kind of law, or rethinking some kind of administration, or again, it could be like a court case. We'll find out, we'll pull more cards on it. I was picking up on this injustice, you know, again, like the songs, the stuff that it's talking about in the songs, right? I did feel like there'd been some kind of injustice, because she was talking about, you know, no one would believe me and I've messed up my case anyway. So it's almost like, it's funny because right from the start, right from Aries, I was picking up on this court case, and I was saying maybe it's something that's going to be in like the public eye, right? Maybe it's going to be something like, you know, but like Johnny Depp and I can never remember her name, and I feel awful about it. I just didn't know who she was until the court case, so her name's not stuck in my mind. But and I'm not favouring one over the other, because I think they were both absolute shitheads who got themselves into an awful situation, and you know, neither one of them is like an angel. It wasn't a court case between an angel and a devil, and that's what I think court cases do. That, you know, you want to have a winner and a loser, so you have to kind of like have the good guy and the bad guy, but that's not human nature, right? Human nature is you get two people who've both made mistakes, and you know, yes, there might be somebody who's a lot worse than the other, but normally it's kind of a bit more grey area than black and white, I think, when you get a court case, which is why you need adjudication in the first place. But you know, the amount of stories historically of people getting a wrong conviction, you know, people getting the death penalty, and then later you get kind of DNA evidence that they didn't have available at the time that proves absolutely 100% that they didn't do it, and yet they got the death penalty for something they didn't do. So miscarriages of justice. But in the upright, it normally says justice, like appropriate justice. I just have the feeling like there's some kind of court case, and it's something to do with like, because there was like Jane Doe, right? It's like witness testimonies. I half wish I knew what I was channeling, because then I'd be like, oh, that's what I was channeling, because it feels something current, right? But I don't know what I'm channeling. I couldn't point to a person and say it's them, right? I couldn't do that. I don't know what this is, but it keeps coming through. But again, it may not be for you, Pisces. It may be something different for you. Tell me about Sophia. Tell me about Sophia. Knight of Wands. I mean, she's fired up. She might be angry. So that the inner feminine, the anima may be angry. But again, I was talking about channel the anger into action. So if an injustice has been done, raise awareness, right? If somebody's getting away with something, you know, without slandering them, start a campaign, you know, maybe that person did get away with it. Maybe it fucking sucks. Maybe it's awful. Maybe start a victim support group, right? Where, you know, it's not about believing them or not believing them. It's about somebody being able to tell their own story, you know, and seek comfort and support. So it's kind of like you can channel your anger into something that's constructive, and, you know, it's going to make a difference. But it's like, again, it's that thing about like knowing the difference, right, between the things you can change and things you can't change. And if you can't change it, redirect your anger into something that you can make a difference with. Otherwise, it's just frustration. Very fiery. This is from Mad Max, I think, is it? I think it might be from Mad Max, but I don't recognize the character. So yeah, I don't know. This guy, though, this is Unforgiven, right? I feel like it's Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven, and that is about kind of like vengeance, seeking vengeance, taking vengeance into your own hands, which obviously is a bad thing to do. There's consequences to that. So it's not something I would encourage. What do we have, please? It's kind of like, you know, when people do work in the sex industry, you know, it can be like, well, you should have known what you're letting yourself in for, kind of thing. Like there's almost rejection of, you know, society being like, well, you should have known better. What did you expect getting into that industry? You know, these things happen there, where I think, you know, that's not taken into account maybe limited choices that women have, or, you know, the need to pay for food, you know, or, you know, whatever's led that person, or manipulation, you know, social or manipulation within relationships, which is what happens to a lot of women where they find themselves working in that industry, is like they had a manipulative man lead them to it. Not every time. I think, you know, the industry is not necessarily bad, but I think a lot of bad is done in it. You know, I think that, you know, like anything, like any group, like any establishment, like any subject, you know, you can have good versions of it or bad versions of it. But I don't know. Oh, look at that reflection again, but the swan's in reverse. So the horse is about work. The horse is about work and freedom, right? The yoke and the running free in the fields. It's Sagittarian energy for me. So it's kind of like this energy being very wild and free, but perhaps things trying to tame you. But also, again, it's strength, it's perseverance, it's hard work, it's focus. It's the arrow energy, and horse energy is similar to me because it's kind of like a straight down the middle, like head towards your goal energy. The swan in the reverse worries me. You could have a bit of a negative self-image. Maybe you don't realize quite. Maybe you don't recognize your own inner power. Maybe you have a bit of ugly duckling energy. You're turning away from this energy. You're going this way. Why? Hey, who are you dealing with? Who's Sophia? Potential energy, hidden potential energy, pure. Again, it's like that frustration, right? It's energy. It's the energy of kind of something being held in one place, right? It's got to go somewhere, right? Right. I'm sorry. Wolf. Could be somebody in your family. It's funny, there's a wolf here as well, right? Somebody else got the destroy card, but I can't think who it is right this second. I may have mentioned it earlier. But Aquarius had wolf. They had this beast card yesterday. Like the animal card. Like the wolf within, right? This thing wanting to come out. And it was coming through maybe as like anger. Like the wolf within. Like Aquarius's reading was talking about like coming into contact with somebody who, you know, if you were a werewolf, this person is like the moon. So, you know, you come into contact with them and you get angry and you know, all those kind of bestial urges come out because this person represents the moon for you. So this is talking again about that kind of wolf side, you know, the instinctive nature, the the beast within us, with the potential to unleash this with this Knight of Wands energy. But she's wise, right? She carries that wisdom energy. Holy Spirit, Gnosis. Like butterfly. There you go. So there was this thing, like I always feel like my readings talk to each other. There was this thing, I think it came through in Libra's reading, and then it was in another reading as well. Maybe it was Virgo. It was this idea of like the butterfly being trapped, right? It was coming out of the chrysalis, but it couldn't expand its wings because there was all these sharp things around it. So it's like it was trapped. It couldn't fully evolve. It was like stuck mid-metamorphosis. Isn't Gnosis like, what's Gnosis? I can't remember what that means. But here's the butterfly fully extended, right? So the idea of kind of like this potential within us that needs space to thrive. What do I want to ask about for you? Why is the King of Coins here for you? So you're the King of Coins. Nothing on the King of Coins. Tell me about the Hangman. Thank you. Here we go. Father of Pentacles, the King of Coins. So these are both relating to you, I want to say, in some sort of way. And Hangman's been clarified by the Father of Pentacles. The Father of Pentacles is the King of Coins. It's the same card. It's just a different name. And the Hierophant could be Taurus. Could be, maybe you've got Taurus placements. It could be something about Taurus or father energy in general. The idea of kind of like the way it's done with the Hierophant is kind of like the way it's done, the way we're told to do it, the way we're taught to do it, especially by patriarchal energy. But this is what you're seeing from a different perspective. Maybe it's like the idea of needing a man, right? Needing a man to, you know, only men can run the household finances, for example. It's like, no, women are perfectly capable of doing this too. You just need to learn or be taught how to do it, right? You need to research it. You need to Google it. Go and speak to the financial advisor at the bank. Keep, you know, if you don't understand it, do it again. You know, this is how this guy learned. What do you think? He came out of the womb as a baby and he went, investment banking, ISAs, 10-year plans. You know, he didn't know what any of those things are. He had to learn. But because he's a man, somebody probably taught him, right? They were like, oh, you'll be interested in this, let's get you a piggy bank. Where it's like, oh, little girl, don't worry, go and wear a nice dress, some guy will look after you. I mean, it doesn't have to be that for you, but it could be, because you're seeing it from a different perspective. This is what I'm saying. And the Hierophant energy being like church, state, patriarchy, with double Father of Pentacles. It seems like it's something about gender roles for you, because you've got Mars and then this Ishtar energy and Sophia energy, who are like, I mean, they don't need a man. Right, Ishtar was one of the first gods. She was a goddess before the gods were gods, you know? So like Mary Magdalene's here, like, hey, who's your daddy? It's me. I don't know. Justice card. Why is the Justice card here? What's going on with this? Judgment and justice. Yeah, that's a reckoning. If you don't get it in this life, you get it in the next life. Somebody's going to judge you, right? But also second chances, you know, putting the past behind you, stretching your wings and flying and getting out of a bad situation. Yeah, a revival, a second go. So it could be, you know, a court case being brought back to trial. That would be justice in the Judgment card. You know, I do think there could be something about taking the law into your own hands here, which is not a good thing. Do not recommend. Okay, happiness there though. Happiness, again, it could be somebody getting out of a bad situation, having a fresh start, you know, taking care of their own finances and being like, bye bish, I'm off to my new life. Why is the Swan in reverse? I feel like I need another deck for that. Why is Sophia showing us Knight of Wands energy? Son of Wands. Yeah, so fired up about something, but also needs to learn a lesson in terms of letting your fire get the better of you, right? It's not, because this, I mean, no, it's the Knight. It's the Knight again. It's not the Page, it's the Knight. So you've got double Knight of Wands. I love that. Father of Pentacles confirming Father of Pentacles. Knight of Wands, Knight of Wands. I mean, could it be clearer? It could be a fire sign child, or it could be, you know, teaching them to respect women. Teaching them to see things from the female point of view, but from a full female point of view. There's a lot of different roles that women can play, and one woman can play all those different roles. You know, a woman can be a mother, she can also be a lover, she can also be a teacher, she can also be, you know, a spiritual teacher, you know, so, but she can play those roles with different people, you know, double Son of Wands is taking action on, taking quite impulsive, fast action on something that you're very passionate about. Can be a little bit balls to the wall, like forget the consequences, I'm just going to do it energy. Not necessarily a lot of thought behind it. They're not the King or Queen of Wands. The King or Queen of Wands have a lot of self-control. The Son of Wands is a little bit more of a knee-jerk reaction. Tell me about the Wolf. The Empress. Again, could be protective maternal energy. I feel like it was in Aquarius's reading, the idea of kind of like, you know, a woman can be the sweetest person on earth, right? She can be all love and light and good feelings and good vibes and warmth and generosity and all those things that people think of as, you know, positive mother energy. But if you mess with her kids, she's going to crush you in a second, you know? It's like, because the wolf energy can be family and protective, you know, and the Empress is all four queens of the tarot, and she can utilize any of those sweet suits of the tarot at any time. So the Empress is, you know, she's the Queen of Pentacles, she's the Queen of Wands, she's the Queen of Cups, she's the Queen of Swords, right? And she can adapt to the purpose. So, you know, you could have an intelligent conversation with her. You could, you know, she could walk away and go and kind of like do some investment banking. She could come back and she could like give you emotional support. But, you know, the Queen of Wands has been the Knight of Wands, and she has been the Page of Wands. This is how she got to be the Queen of Wands, which is quite experienced in the Wands energy. So if she needs to be, she can switch into Knight of Wands energy. You know, if she needs to take swift action, if she needs to be angry, she can be angry. You know, it's letting it out. It feels like letting it out. It could be venting, right? It could be, this part of me needs expression. Something's made me feel this way, so I need to act on this. She could be feeling really, really sexy. You know, Knight of Wands energy can be somebody who's kind of like sexually active, you know, on the prowl, so to speak. But she is the Empress. Sophia is the Empress. So again, it could be something to do with, I mean, traditionally it's Taurus, Libra energy, but Sophia came out for Aries, so it could be something to do with that. Like, somebody could have an Aries mother. If so, that person's really on a pedestal. Something about the hair in this tree. Maybe somebody's got like pink curly hair. Or red curly hair. Like pinky red. Where do I want to go? Give me another energy between the two. What's going on here? Give me more context in general. Pisces and their person, what's going on? The Priestess. There it is. There it is, because I was picking up on that energy from the start. The Prince of Cups. So that it feels like the Priestess taking action. It feels like the Priestess, it normally sits on a throne, channeling messages, kind of like feeling the energies, sending people psychic messages, just really just existing on the astral plane. And then it's like, oh no, priestess needs to be somewhere, jumps in a chariot, off she goes. Because the priestess to me is water energy, which is cups energy. Priest of Cups. Could be love messages between the two. I think, was it Capricorn, maybe? Could have been Aquarius. One of the energies had like all cups on one side and all fire on the other side. And it was this thing about, they had the mirror in the middle. I can't remember whose reading it was now. But it was this thing about, they're giving me the song again. It came through with, I'm searching for something that I can't reach. And the message was, I feel like it was Aquarius. It was like, you're all cups energy and you're interested in this person who's in one's energy, but you're not accepting them for who they are because this is a wands person, right? What you're looking for is a king of cups and this is a king of wands. But because they had the mirror in the middle, it was like they were carrying the cups energy and they were projecting it onto this other person and seeing them as the king of cups, even though they were the king of wands, right? So it's like what you're looking for isn't in this person, they're wands, your cups, and you're looking for cups energy. So I wonder if it's like this person's like turned away to do some self-reflection, which was the message. I remember Aquarius had this thing about like, don't jump the gun, right? Don't, because they had all this fool energy, and it's like this little bird kind of like jumping the nest but doing it too soon, right? And it's like they weren't ready and it kind of led to this kind of destruction. And it was like, no, you need to do more healing, you need to do more resting. Like, it's, you know, you're almost ready, but don't, it's like taking a leap of faith without looking. It's like you've got to look where you're jumping. But here they're flying. And I want to say it's because of some kind of self-reflection that they needed to do. It was like, you need to do the self-reflection before you take the leap of faith. So here's the self-reflection. And then it's almost like, because again, this is still all one's energy. I don't know, maybe somebody's on the cusp or some kind of, it's like a progression from the Aquarius reading where they needed to reflect, they did the reflection, and now the movement's happening, but it's moving like cups is feminine and wands is masculine normally, because it's like a penis and a vagina, right? So it's kind of like, hey, let's do the math here, but it doesn't have to be that. Again, it can talk about cups being emotion and love, and wands being passion and action. You know, and this is okay. You know, you can have a relationship where, you know, you come at it from with different energies and you're meeting your own needs in that other person. It doesn't have to be the you don't have to be an exact carbon copy of the person that you're with. It's like, you wouldn't clone yourself. I mean, I would. Like, I feel like I'd have fun with a clone of myself. Like, that'd be a good time. But, you know, that's not how relationships work. You're not looking for somebody who's literally a clone of you, right? With the same genitalia. It's like, I don't know. Like, science can do a lot of stuff right now. But I don't know. Do you see what I mean? It's like, maybe you're not looking for somebody who's a carbon copy of you. Maybe you're looking for somebody who challenges you and completes you, and, you know, they're the yin to your yang. Again, I'm not talking about relationships. I'm not necessarily talking about like same-sex relationships or, you know, male-female, male-male relationships. I'm talking about energy, right? Somebody coming to a relationship with like cups yin energy, and someone coming to a relationship with like wands yang energy. Like, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, but this woman's from Mars, this woman's from, I don't know where she's from, this woman's from Mars, this woman's from Earth, but they seem to be getting along great, right? There's love between them with the Prince of Cups. I don't know if I'm making any sense today, guys. I'm doing this a little bit later in the day than I'd normally do readings, and it's coming off a bit wacky. Let's read that card and see what it says. And it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship as well. You can have love between you, and it can be a sister, right? Or a mother, or a child, you know? Someone externally to you, and you're finding that Sophia energy in them. It's like, again, it's like the goddess in me bows to the goddess in you. You know, it could just be like women supporting women. Prince of Cups, the airy aspect of water, desires, wishes, cravings, possibility for transformation. The central task of the Prince of Cups is to master dealing with emotional needs. Air in the context of water symbolizes strong passions. This is water and air, but passion that matches the Sun of Wands, which is cool. as does the astrological sign Scorpio. The prince's coach, reminiscent of a seashell, is drawn by a scorpion eagle. This can be seen as an allusion to the possibility of transformation. The coach drives over the water of emotions but never touches it. Wishes and desires must be perceived and recognized. They are wishes and desires. Didn't I say that at the beginning with the wishes? They are the fundamental driving force in our lives. It's only possible to use and master them if you're wide awake and alert. Instead of suppressing them, you can use them in the process of becoming more aware. When seen this way, they are a vehicle that helps us journey into the world within. The snake, symbol of change and wisdom, awakens and rises up. The eagle on the prince's helmet hints at the possibilities of spiritual liberation. The realizations of these possibilities is a task which still lies before him. All too engrossed in looking at the snake, he forgets the lotus blossom of love which now points downwards. As he learns to integrate the driving forces of desire, the lotus will be able to fully develop and grow upright again. Indications: accept your sexual needs and passions and live them out with awareness. You will discover a lot in this process, because I feel like Aquarius's reading had this thing about somebody who was in this phase of self-discovery. It's like they didn't know who they were or what they wanted. It was kind of like, I don't know if I'm straight, I don't know if I'm gay. Like I haven't had enough relationships to be able to kind of like fully understand that about myself. I need to experiment. You know, it's like I don't know how I identify because I've never questioned it before. So somebody experimenting and allowing themselves to experiment, but in a healthy way, right? You're going to learn. And again, I feel like Aquarius had that. It's like the idea of like the apple, right? It's like, it's going to be an experience, right? And maybe you won't like it. Maybe you'll never want to do it again, but at least you'll know. You know, at least you can be sure. At least you can like veto that idea. Give yourself totally to the experience and observe yourself in it. What secret wishes are you unwilling to admit to? Huh. Ooh, the dolphins under the butterfly. I feel like, you know, there's a transformation that's going to be a pretty good time. Why is the swan in reverse, please? Why is the swan in reverse for Pisces? Something about wish fulfillment. I don't know why it's in reverse, but it's connected to the idea of wish fulfillment, but also not needing anyone else to make you happy and finding that happiness within. It's kind of like not searching for the missing piece in other people, even though other people can expand you and help you to grow and help you to develop. You know, you don't need them to complete you. So you're not looking for the yin to your yang. You recognize that you carry yin and yang energy, right? You are everything that you need. But if someone wants to join you for the ride and they compliment you and you vibe well with them, then you're willing to kind of like open up and expand that to being like the 10 of cups. There's also this thing about like jumping away from the money, right? Jumping away from the riches into the heart space, which again, you had this with the castle and the Father of Pentacles. It's like money can't buy happiness. And the castle also said things about like, you know, developing a personality based on material things. So it's somebody who's like, if you ask who they are, they're like, oh, I'm the guy who owns the Lamborghini and lives in that big house and I do this for a job. And you're like, yeah, but you're not telling me who you are, right? What do you think about at night? What are your dreams? What are your hopes? Like, what makes you angry? Like, okay, yeah, I can see you've got a Lamborghini, but like a Lamborghini's not a personality, right? It's like money and wealth and riches are not a personality. They're things, you know. Your bank account isn't a personality trait, Nigel. My instinct was to say Andrew, and I avoided Andrew. But I'm just gonna say I got the name Andrew. And again, I know a couple of Andrews, and I'm not thinking of them specifically. It's just a name that popped in my head, just in case any Andrews get offended. I don't know if you drive on. Like, listen, if there's anyone called Andrew watching who I know, I don't know what car you drive. I don't care. You know. But if you do like drive a Lamborghini, like, good on you. Like, good game, mate. It is impressive. It's just not a personality, right? It's a car. Horse. Justice. Could be something about like getting paid for the work you've done. You know, I did work here. Where's the money? You know? Could be that you're having to take someone to court in order to get them to pay you. You know, maybe you did contract work for somebody and didn't get paid, and it's like, hey, listen, I'm seeking justice here. Again, I did have this thing in a couple of readings about like somebody getting like a divorce. So it could be something to do with like, you know, the wife gets half the assets kind of thing. And what is work anyway? You know, they say that being a mum, like a housewife, is the hardest work, but it's unpaid labor, right? It's like, why don't we pay housewives because they're doing the job of like a childminder, a cook, a cleaner, a valet, right? A teacher. Like if you look at all the jobs that, and not just mums as well, like, you know, dads can play this role. Like there's plenty of stay-at-home dads right now, where it's like the woman's the main breadwinner, right? She goes off to work, she's got a good career. The dad stays at home and raises the kids and cooks and cleans and all that kind of stuff. It's like, what if you had to pay someone to do all that? If you had to actually hire someone to clean your house and do your laundry and cook you meals a day and look after your kids and take your kids to school, and you know, you had to hire a tutor to teach your kids, like get them through the homework. If you had to pay someone to do that, it'd be a lot of money, right? If women or like the people who do these roles got paid, they'd be earning probably more than the person who's going out to work. So again, like, relationships aren't necessarily always about like, quid pro quo is not necessarily like for like, right? Again, like the idea of like, would you want a carbon copy of yourself? Like, you know, people bring different things to the table. So in a relationship, you do normally have the person who has the better career. They earn a lot more money. Maybe they're a bit more educated, they're a bit more skilled, they earn more money, right? So on paper, it's like this person contributed this amount of money to the household, you know, but just because the woman doesn't get paid doesn't mean she didn't work fucking hard, you know? Like, I don't know how much does someone get paid to carry a baby to full term, like surrogacy? Like there's some places that pay a lot of money to surrogate mothers, right? It's like, no one paid me to have my two kids. Like, do you know what? So it's like, justice is about making things fair, like, and contribution is not just financial. There's more to it than that. Why is this person in so much Son of Wands energy? Something about balance, work-life balance, juggling, spinning plates. Tell me more about this. Why are they in Knight of Wands energy? Oh gosh. It feels like because they need to be. Juggling things, blocked, doors are closed to them, healing. It feels like they're getting out of Dodge. It feels like that's a shit situation and they're getting out of there. Like they're running the opposite way. I'm going to put those kind of back in. I've put them all on top. I don't normally do that. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. Tell me about, like, the hummingbird energy is like the potential of this person. I feel like Cancer or Gemini had this reading where it's like they were watching somebody and it was like they were just, the potential was being completely wasted. Like they had so much potential, like so much creativity perhaps, and it's like they were just getting walked over in work and they were annoyed about it. They didn't think it was very fair. And this was coming through like Muse energy. Tell me about the hummingbird. Why is this person Sophia? Well, no, that's obvious. I don't need to ask that. Why is this person specifically showing up in Pisces' reading today? This person's, they're very trapped. Again, there's this idea of like not seeing somebody maybe not, somebody being in like ugly duckling energy, like not seeing their own potential, not seeing how fabulous they are, seeing themselves as trapped. This person's really, it's like all that fire is just being like tied up. It's like they're Sophia. They have all this energy. They're the Empress, right? But they're just, they think they're trapped. This thing about the mirror, right? It could be like imposter syndrome or something. I don't get it. I kind of don't want to skip the FKA Twig song. I kind of want to listen to it, but I guess I can put it up on YouTube. My tummy just rumbled, guys. I don't know if you heard that, but I'm going to point it out because I'm weird. Let's get you a song. Right. Just make it make sense. Guides, make it make sense. It was Eyes Closed. I got an advert, but it was Eyes Closed by Halsey. Let me just pull it up. Eyes Closed. I can't be bothered waiting for the advert to go. There's also a song by Ed Sheeran called Eyes Closed, so take that if it resonates. Eyes Closed by Halsey. I know where to lay, so I know where to... I know where to lay, so I know what to say. It's all the same. I know how to play. I know this game. It's all the same. If I keep my eyes closed, he looks just like you, but he'll never stay. They never do. If I keep my eyes closed, he feels just like you, but you've been replaced and face to face with someone new. I got a message. Would have gave it all for you, cared for you. So tell me where I went wrong. Would have gave it all for you, cared for you, my lover, my liar. Would have traded it all for you, there for you. Would have traded it all for you, right? Cared for you. They don't realise that I'm thinking about you. It's nothing new. So it's like it's somebody perhaps that you were... Tummy, shush, you're embarrassing me. Somebody that you is getting there. I'm taking, some of you might know from other readings, I'm taking tablets where it's like I can't eat for a while. So I'm eating too much when I can eat, because I'm a grazer normally by nature. I kind of like eat a lot, like little and often throughout the day. But because of these tablets that I'm on that I can't eat for a while either side, I'm kind of like eating more than usual, and it just messes with my digestion. It upsets my tummy. So my tummy's kind of like, is it food time yet? I want to stuff myself with a giant bowl of pasta because I don't know when I'm going to fed again. But it's embarrassing because it keeps rumbling in readings and stuff. It's a human body, guys. It's a digestive system because I'm human. It's meant to be there. It's meant to make weird noises at me. Okay, what am I saying to you? Yeah, so the vibe of kind of like, I would have given it all for you, right? It's kind of like, with this thing about the mirror, I feel like it's a relationship where it's prompted a lot of self-reflection in both people, and there's a lot of love there, but it feels like this person's trapped, so this person's turning away, right? It's like, I can't get out of the situation I'm in. Maybe they've got a family. I feel like Capricorn had this thing about being all tied up in the Hierophant energy. It's kind of like they'd opted into something and then they were stuck in it. But you've got the Hierophant energy all over here. So it could be a situation where it's like you've both got your own stuff going on, you've both got your own families, your own houses, you know, but maybe you both feel, because it's in the middle, this idea of kind of like, I would have given it all up for you, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. But because the castle didn't get destroyed, because the tower moment didn't come in. So it feels like because the castle didn't get destroyed, you're still both trapped in it. Where had there been a tower moment, it would have freed you both, but it would have made you both feel like boats in the middle of a storm, right? So it's like the stability won over the opportunity for a fresh start, which I want to say could have been very, very positive. But it could have not been, right? And it's the unknowing that seems to be the problem. But again, it's like maybe you've both moved on, you've both with different people, but thinking of each other. But then you've got the Judgment card, you've got the fresh start here. And there's still a lot of potential there. I don't know, I kind of want to see where this story goes, Pisces, but I guess it's up to you, right? The story's in your hands. You're the narrator of your own story. But yeah, thank you for sharing with me. I almost feel like these readings have done around, because Pisces, you're followed by Aries, and then we have Aries here, and they have this thing about the court case and not being able to speak, and you know, all this kind of stuff. So it's almost like the readings have gone full circle in some sort of way. I hope that's helpful to you. Please take care of yourselves. If it's not your personal reading, if it's not making sense, it might just be that someone else needs to hear it more. Go and check out your other placements. I definitely recommend finding out what your Mars placement is and checking that out. And that reading may resonate more with you. And again, I think my guides give me the reading that needs to be heard the most. So again, if you kind of like, if you're doing all right, you know, maybe you didn't need a reading this week and it's gone to someone else, but hopefully it made sense. Hopefully you got something out of it. Stick around, and I'm going to have you can check out the August readings. They kind of like cover the whole month. So if you've not watched the August readings yet, you can go back and have a look at those, see if they resonate. And if not, I'm going to be back soon with the September readings. So I'm going to start those again soon. So hope you've enjoyed. Do take care of yourselves. I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.